Hello and welcome back to the Life Beyond Limits podcast. This week I'm going to be talking to you about the three top things that I see that hold people back, that cause us to feel pretty shitty, unmotivated, and can often take us down a path of procrastination and of playing small. And I'm going to jump straight into this, and I'm going to start with a whopper, which is all about perfectionism, because as a old perfectionist, I know exactly what it feels like when we feel that we have to get everything right, um, through own personal preference, but also through fear of judgment by others if we make a mistake or we look silly or we have a typo in something and this, that, and the other. And so we hold back until everything is exactly perfect before we put it out. But the reality is, well, there's several realities I'm going to share with you, but the reality is we'll always find something wrong with it. And so nothing is ever truly perfect. And perfectionism also doesn't exist because what's perfect for me might not be perfect for you. And so I could be putting together something that I think is absolutely perfect for you, and yet it doesn't hit your requirements. It's not linked with what you want or anything. And therefore, we're striving for something that is impossible to reach because we all have different ideas of things. You know, no one's idea of success is exactly the same. Same with happiness, same with abundance, same with perfectionism. You know, we all have different interpretations. And so we're often striving for something that is just literally impossible to meet. And the truth is that in order to get feedback on whether something works or not, because it's not about whether it's being perfect or not, it's about whether it works or not, whether it generates the results that you're after, whether it gives you the outcomes that you want. And the only way that you can figure that out and find that out is to take action. And that is to take action before everything is perfect. Because if you are a perfectionist, you're going to be looking at every minute detail. But the reality is your audience, the people that you work with, won't be looking for that. They won't see the things. It's like if you've got a tiny, tiny little stain on a top, you know it's there, but no one else will notice it. It's like that. You know, we're picking at things because it's, you know, really important to us, or it's a representation of us, and therefore we think everyone else is looking at it in the same detail, and they're not. And so done is better than perfect. If you want to get results and you want to get feedback and you want to build momentum, you've got to put stuff out there. You've got to start taking action first. And so it's really important for you to let go of this perfectionism, and recognizing that that's just another form of procrastination. It's another excuse that you are using to play small and to hold back. And the reality is, just like failure doesn't exist, perfectionism doesn't exist. And if you can have these conversations with yourself and recognize that to be the truth, to be fact, that it doesn't exist, then the pressure eases you. And if something's really important and the message that you're trying to put across is there, then people will see beyond that. One of the most successful coaches in my industry always has typos, and it's not held her back. She doesn't care. It's part of who she is. And so she doesn't wait for it all to look perfect before she gets it out there. For me, like, I've had podcasts where I might have clunk a bit of a glass or a pen on the table and it's knocked something, or Max has walked in the middle of it, especially when we were in lockdown and I was homeschooling him. But I'm not a perfect podcast host. I'm not pretending to be perfect, and I'm not striving to be perfect. You know, sometimes this might not sound exactly how it would if it was done in an amazing studio with thousands of pounds behind it, but the message is the important part. And so if you can get what you feel is right, one coach that I've worked very closely with, Brandon Nacero, always says that so he strives for 70% perfect. He thinks if you are striving for 100% perfect, you're heading for failure because perfection doesn't exist. And so you're striving for an impossible outcome, an impossible task. But if you're 70% happy with what you're putting out there, then that gives you permission to learn and to gain insights and feedback without judgment. because you know it's not 100% there or 90% there or whatever it may be, but it's good enough to go out there to get the message across and to get feedback on what perhaps needs changing. Because you might think something needs changing that doesn't need changing, and you might have missed something that might need adding in. You won't know that until you try. So next time you are thinking on that, oh, it's got to be perfect, I'll wait until this, I'll sign up with a coach when this is right, or I'll launch this when this is right, then don't. Like, do it now, because there is always something that will hold you back. And don't let perfectionism, this non-existent illusion, hold you back, because it's just fear in disguise. Number 2, comparing yourself to other people. I see this so often, where we all look at other people who are achieving success, who are doing amazing things, and instead of it inspiring you, it can make you feel inferior, vulnerable, useless, unmotivated, or whatever it may be, frustrated, because you're like, well, they're doing it, why can't I do it? Well, how come everything that they do turns to gold, and yeah, I'm trying my hardest to do things and it's just not working? Because every single person, as I just said, you know, success is different for everyone. Happiness, financial freedom is different for everybody. So when you're trying to compare yourself to someone else, you're comparing an apple with a pear. That's saying only no one snowflake is the same. I am not the same as you. Even if we do exactly the same job, and you know, we're the same age and we've got similar backgrounds, I am still not the same as you, because I have my own personal perception and you have your own personal perception. I have my own habits, my own thoughts, my own beliefs, which create my identity. So do you. These are all totally unique to each and every one of us. Therefore, I cannot be identical to you. This is why, you know, you can give 100 people the same strategy and we'll all get different results, because we are all different people. And success doesn't come in what you do primarily, it comes in how you think first, then what you do. And so if I am thinking from an abundant, successful mindset, and my internal stories about how successful I am, how easy it is to make money, how I enjoy growing and evolving, all of that sort of stuff, my interpretation and my results on that strategy will be so different to someone who is, I haven't got time to do this, this is too hard, I haven't got the money to invest, whatever I do is not good enough. You're not going to get the same results if you're working off that hymn sheet, off that internal dialogue. And so when you look at comparing yourself to other people, it's really just a top line comparison. You're not looking at the bigger picture. You're not seeing beneath the surface, because it's beneath the surface that is what's different to everybody else. And so even though we might look the same, like there's I'm sure, well, there is an experiment on identical twins. I can't remember the exact full details of it, but obviously identical twins, similar upbringing, still had a different perspective and interpretation on life than each other. One, I think they were brought up by alcoholic parents. One became an alcoholic, one became very successful. It shows it's in how you think that allows you to then become the person that you want to become. It's not about comparing people. We're constantly going up against it if we're thinking that we have to compare ourselves to others. And if they can do it, well, if they can do it, you can do it. But it's not as easy as that. I don't like it when people say that. If they can do it, then so can you. Yes, you can. But it doesn't come in doing more. It comes in doing the inner work and then doing more, and then you'll get the results. Because you need to know how you can do it and what your interpretation of success is. And this is very personal. You can be striving for a goal that's someone else's dream if you're not clear on what that looks like for you. And therefore, if you get someone else's dream and start to live the life you see other people living, that might not fulfill you either, because that isn't your dream and it's not what you're wanting to achieve. And everything always comes back to understanding you, having that awareness of you, having that acceptance of you, and really taking the time to work on yourself before you then start doing more and start to generate the results that you're after. So please, we're all guilty of it. We've all done it. And I'm, you know, as with anything, I say everything I share with my listeners, with my clients, whoever, is things that I've experienced myself as well, or I've got, like, if I share different techniques, I've done all of these techniques too. I know how effective they are. It doesn't come from a place of understanding. I come from a place of knowing, because I have gone through them myself. I have lived the techniques. I have seen the impact that they can have. Equally, you know, it comes with the same of this. I know what it's like to compare yourself to other people, and how it can hold you back, and how it can cause you to feel triggered and inferior and not good enough and not deserving. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't help you get the results that you want. Comparing yourself to other people, what does that actually achieve for you? What are you hoping to gain from that? If it's inspiration and empowerment to like be your best and show up and see what is possible because other people are living their best life, then go for it. But if it is causing you to feel that you're just not as good as other people, and what's the point, it's not going to work, then that's not going to help. You really need to recognize that everyone has their own unique journey based on their own unique identities and habits and beliefs. And so you need to know what yours are, and you need to know what you really, really want. Because having chased a goal myself for 2 years, that was a goal I'd set 2-3 years ago, but actually wasn't the goal that I wanted anymore, was just pointless, because I spent every month beating myself up. This is when I was trying to fall pregnant, beating myself up that I wasn't pregnant. And yet the reality was that goal wasn't what I wanted anymore. My dream, without talking in riddles or whatever, was to have a very close relationship, at a close age, sorry, with my children, if I was to have more than one. And to have a small age gap like I do with my sister, and Jono does with his family. And Jono was exactly the same. And yet, for whatever reason, that didn't happen. We had a couple of miscarriages and various things. And then beyond that, we just got into the habit of just keeping trying, because that's all we've said that we're going to do. And we're in this cycle of trying, but neither of us wanted a baby at this stage. Our dream, our goal had passed. The age gap had got a lot bigger. Circumstances had changed. And we were putting so much pressure on ourselves to achieve something that actually didn't fit into what we wanted anymore. And so many people do that because we just get caught up in the doing and not really checking in with ourselves. I know I digress a little bit there from the comparison bit, but it's still really important to recognize what it is you're after. Don't go chasing old goals, or don't go chasing someone else's goals if it's not right for you, just because you feel that you've got to compare yourself to other people. Be really clear on what success and happiness looks like for you. Be really clear on how you want that to make you feel, and recognize that your life is very different to everybody else's. So it really doesn't matter. Like I said, 100 people, same strategy, different results. We're all different people. It's never going to come out exactly the way that other people are experiencing it. So don't let that hold you back. Embrace your uniqueness. Embrace your quirks. Embrace who you are. Really spend the time and the energy getting to know who you are and using that to your advantage, rather than wasting time watching other people, seeing what other people are doing, and trying to put a square peg in a round hole and create that life for you. Create your own life doing the things that you want to do, that is in your power and is in alignment with who you are. Number 3, people pleasing. This is another huge one that I see a lot of people experiencing, that holds them back. You know, we feel that we have to please other people and do things that might not actually be in alignment with us, but to do things to be seen to be doing the right thing. People pleasing comes in so many different shapes and forms: personal life, professional life, all sorts, where we compromise our values and our morals to maybe fit in, to conform to the norm, or we people please where we just don't feel like we have the capacity or the strength to stand up for ourselves and say no. And so we do things that we might not necessarily want to do. All of these things are fear in disguise that are holding us back on some level and stopping us from reaching our true limitless potential. But by people pleasing, you step away from your true North Star, your true calling in life, your true purpose, whatever it may be, because you suddenly start to try and think like other people and please other people and put other people first, that you start to let yourself down. And quite often with people pleasing, you tend to be exhausted, you tend to be burnt out, you tend to have very little time for yourself, dedicated to yourself, because you're so busy pleasing other people. And the reality is, I don't know if you've listened to my podcast from a couple of weeks ago, where I did one about stop being selfish and put yourself first. This is very much in alignment with that. You can't please other people from an empty cup. You can't please other people if it's not in alignment with what you want and how you want to achieve and the things that you want, because somewhere along the line you will run out of fuel, or resentment will kick in, or you will just hit a wall, and you can't continue to do that. If you want to be the best version of yourself and you want to help people and please people, you've got to put yourself first, because if you haven't got the energy, the focus, the dedication, to show up as your best self every day, then you can't show up for your best self for other people. It's just not possible. And eventually you'll end up letting people down because you haven't got the energy to do the things that you want to do. And so if you are someone that likes to please other people and make sure that they're happy first, you need to take the time to please yourself first. And you can do that by seeing yourself as a third party, as another person, as someone you need to please. Or you can really recognize the importance that actually people pleasing doesn't work, for a start, because there's always going to be someone that wants more. There's always going to be someone that will judge. There will always be someone that will criticize. But when you step into who you are and you know your values and your morals, and you step up and you serve your team, your clients, your customers, your friends, your peers in the best way that you can, by making sure that you are serving them in a way that pleases them, but ultimately feels good for you, then you will have more energy, more focus, more drive, you'll get more results, you'll feel happier, and things will just start to feel lighter for you. Quite often, these three emotions or things, behaviors, not things, behaviors, habits that we have really hold us back, but they really cause us to just get out of complete flow. And there's a heaviness that comes with that because you're trying to be something that you're not. When you are in true alignment, when you're focused and you're positive on exactly what it is that you're doing, everything is easy. It feels easy. We've all had experiences in our life where things have just gone really, really well, really easy. And it's like, wow, that just felt amazing because everything just slotted into place. That is when you're in alignment. But when you're battling with perfectionism or comparisons or people pleasing, you're not in flow because you're not thinking about you. You're thinking about other people and what that looks like for other people and what other people are saying about you or how they're judging you, or how you might be letting them down or whatever it may be. They're all fear-based emotions that just come through in different disguises. But when you start to step into yourself and you start to recognize that this is all fear, this is all ego-based beliefs that we have, and we know that beliefs are just thoughts that we continue to think, they're not factually correct, and that we are the thinker of our thoughts, therefore we have the ability to change our thoughts and our beliefs at any given moment. That these emotions, these behaviors do not have to impact us anymore. We can choose to let go of them. We can choose to be 70% perfect. We can choose to be the apple to everyone else's pear. We can choose to embrace who we are, focus on our journey, and celebrate other people's success, and use that to inspire you to keep going so you can start to generate your own success. And we can choose to please other people, but from a place of not emptiness of having to, but because you want to, because you have the energy and the focus and the inspiration to do so, because you've looked after yourself and you're inspired to do that. Really start to reframe and change your perspective on how you view yourself, how you view success, how you view your worthiness. And when you start to do this, things start to change. You start to become more aware. It's not a forced habit. You're naturally more aware of exactly what it is that you're after. So I hope that this makes sense to you. Don't be so hard on yourself. We all do this, and we'll all continue to do this. I'm not sitting there saying I never act like a perfectionist, or I don't ever compare, or I'm not a people pleaser, but I keep it to a minimum. And when I do it, I suddenly become aware of me doing it, and I can then create the changes that I need to make as a result of that awareness. So just be aware, just be mindful of what's going on. Do it all from free judgment. Do not judge yourself whatsoever. No one's perfect at all. You know, life is about evolving, making mistakes, learning from them, moving forward, growing. It's not about having to get everything right now and trying to live everyone else's life, because you've only got your life and your experience, and from that you create your dreams and your reality and your success. So good luck with it all. I will see you all next week. Bye for now.